So I'm psyched for this video today because we all know that finding motivation with ADHD is damn difficult. It is hard, okay? It is not consistent. And we also know that our dopamine receptors are totally jacked up, like totally jacked up. And all the experts are saying, well, we need to do low dopamine activities and like not do the high dopamine activities. And I don't know about you, but when I think about just like cutting out all of my little dopamine hits and becoming super disciplined, like it just makes me not want to do that. Like I watched a video the other day and it was all about like how to just steady your dopamine and not go after the big dopamine hits. And like, yes, and also sometimes we need those just to like get through the day. You know, we might need to scroll, we might need to eat some chocolate, whatever it is for you. So today I'm going to talk about 5 reasons that it's difficult to find motivation with ADHD besides all of the sciencey, dopamine, neuroscience, typical ways that everybody is talking about. So for ADHDers, we need to have fun. Like that's part of us. We have a spark. We want to have fun. We want to keep things exciting. So just the dopamine explanation and just finding the discipline like does not work for my type of personality. Like I don't want to be somebody who's super disciplined. I don't know about you, that just sounds super boring. But I do want to be somebody who is being creative and has a spark and has energy and can function in the world. So let's find some explanations for why ADHD motivation is super hard, because once we know what's going on, once we have the awareness of what's going on, then we can actually solve it. We don't need to be like a victim to this low dopamine or to this ADHD diagnosis or to poor executive functioning or to poor motivation. We don't need to be victims. Today I want to share 5 reasons besides dopamine why it's difficult to find motivation with ADHD. And I'll give some remedies for each thing as we go through them. Before we get into that, I would be super grateful if you subscribed, if you liked, because it definitely helps me as a creator and helps my dopamine. Haha. But no, it does help me stay motivated when I see people actually resonating with what I'm putting out there. And also it helps the algorithm show it to other people that might find it beneficial to not just have to talk about dopamine all the time with ADHD, because that conversation is getting old, in my opinion. So, number 1 is object constancy. So that's like a therapy term. I'm a therapist. If you don't know that about me, I work with ADHD women. I also have ADHD myself, if you can't already tell. But object constancy, what it is basically like something is the same in your mind all the time. So I'll give you an example. I used to live in New York City, in Brooklyn. And I would ride the subway all the time because that's how people get around there mostly. So whenever we'd be going under a new stop, I'd be like, I wonder what that stop looks like today. Or I wonder how that stop is today. And every time I would get off at that stop, it literally would look the same as every other time. But like in my brain, I was expecting it to be different every time. I don't even know why this is. But also like in our brains, we don't have object constancy with anything. We don't have object constancy about our identities, about who we are, our moods, our feelings. You know, like one day you can feel like you're on top of the world and you get everything done. And the next day you just feel exhausted, wiped out, burnt out. And it changes. It can literally change from hour to hour. And so when we don't have that, when everything is like so different every time we wake up, there's not like one strategy that's always going to motivate us, or we can't just have predictable motivation to get things done. because every day is different. So one way that I like to combat that, obviously, it's through tapping. Tapping like steadies me, it steadies my mood, it takes me out of fight or flight. So tapping is one way you could kind of help level that out. Also, just trying to have some routine. And I think also like the object constancy is why routines are difficult for us. Because I'm like, okay, this routine, this works really, really well for me. Like I'll find a routine one day and be like, this is it. This is the routine I need to do every day. And then for some reason, it doesn't work the next day. I can't do it the next day. It's not as effective. So it's like, yeah, that object constancy, that identity, that core self, those core feelings are different every day. So that's why also routines are hard for us. And motivation is also not, what's the word? It's not a reliable feeling for anybody. Like we can't always just wait for motivation. And that's why people talk about discipline. It's like when you don't feel the motivation, you have the discipline. And as ADHDers, we don't have that discipline. Some of us do. And some of us want to be those people who are disciplined. And like I said, I don't. Like when I hear like, okay, I'm a disciplined person, I'm like, ugh, that sounds freaking horrible. So with the object constancy, so like tapping is a good idea, and just figuring out like, okay, today I don't feel like doing jack, but what is one little small thing that I can do right now? So this morning, for example, I woke up, I was exhausted. I like barely slept last night and I couldn't do anything, but I just decided to put on some meditations. I put on one meditation. I was like, this is really weird. I'm not doing this anymore. Then I switched to meditation. I was listening to some Louise Hay, which is always pretty good and helpful. And then I just eased into things. And sometimes we can get right at something and sometimes we need to ease into things. And so just knowing that it's not going to be the same every day can be really, really helpful. So it's like, how can I ease into this? I could have tried some tapping, but I will admit I forgot. Sometimes I even forget to do tapping. But that would have looked like the tapping in this video that I posted. I'm going to post it again at the end, where we talk all about tapping for motivation. So I'll refer you back to that video. Number 2 is similar to the object constancy, but it's energy. Our energy levels can vary so much. So kind of like energy and motivation to me go hand in hand. Like when our energy is high, our motivation is generally high. Like we're feeling pretty good. But when our energy is low, we're generally not feeling like we want to do anything. So like what to do about that, right? That's something that we can't always control, our energy. For me, eating, like not for dopamine, but for energy, it really helps. And for me lately, I've been eating low carb, and that's like really helped me just keep my energy more stable, right? Like if we can think of it as like energy instead of discipline, like I would like to keep my energy more stable because I just feel better. And if we can say like, well, how can I feel better overall? And take out the words discipline and even take out the words like productivity, but like how can I feel better? Because when we feel better, we are more motivated to get things done. We are going to get those things done. We're just going to have more focus, more clarity, and we're going to be able to get things done. So the fluctuation of energy levels also has to do with hormones. I know I'm in menopause and like I had to take this progesterone and it literally knocked out all of my energy. That's a whole nother story. But it's like we're also sensitive to things that we put into our body. Like we're more sensitive as ADHDers than like normies to what we put into our body. So we need to be aware of that. And when we have the energy, we need to capitalize on that. And generally, we might have energy at certain times of the day. Like, and everybody's different. And that's also why I hate the dopamine theory. Because the other day I was watching this video and I was like, well, everybody with ADHD wakes up with low dopamine and high cortisol and whatever. It's like, no, that's not true. It's like every day is different. So some days I wake up, I have a ton of energy. Some days I don't. So we need to, in some ways, go with the flow with our energy and realize like when we're going to have the most energy. I also seem to have the most energy and focus like when nobody else is around. So that's when I do things like make videos, you know? So energy and focus and all of that also have to do with like who else is around. And when it's just me and when I've had enough time to like take care of what I need for myself, I generally will be more motivated to do the things that I want to do. Okay, that brings us really well into the next reason why it's hard for us to have motivation as an ADHDer. That is sometimes talked about, but not always with these like neuroscience people. So that's demand avoidance. And that's like, for me, it feels like this wall. Okay, I have to do the dishes. I have to do all this stuff in the evening. And just even thinking about what I have to do will zap the energy right out from me. So just the feeling of demand avoidance will zap the energy. It zaps the motivation. And again, there's a lot of tapping that I suggest for demand avoidance in this video. But thinking about things not in terms of I have to do this, but I want to do this. So let's go to the dishes. So I generally never want to do the dishes, even though that's like my least hated of all of the domestic tasks. But I want to wake up to order because that makes my morning a lot better. So it's like we think about the next morning and what is going to allow us to have the energy that we need. So if I wake up, there's dishes in the sink, I have to wash out I really am thinking coffee actually, but I have to wash out the coffee pot before I can even make the coffee, then that's gonna drain my energy, which is then going to drain my motivation. So I will, for my tomorrow self, for my future self, I will say, okay, I'm gonna do the dishes because tomorrow I'm going to feel a lot better when I wake up to like a clean sink and to a coffee pot where I just have to like get the stuff ready. And like even better if I can like do the coffee the night before. Then I just have to press the button and I can't figure out the timer. I know that there's a timer, but I can never figure it out. I don't know what. Okay. So like instead of saying like I have to do this, I actually want to do this for my future self, for my tomorrow self who I know is probably not going to feel motivated to wash the dishes, who's going to see the dishes and say, oh God, I don't want to have to do these dishes. And that kind of builds up our energy. Like we start off with like an energy, I don't even want to say surplus, but like an even keel of energy rather than an energy deficit. Like when we see the dishes, we have to do the dishes, then that's like, oh gosh, that saps our energy, that saps our motivation, and our energy is limited. So I feel like energy and motivation are so closely tied, and demand avoidance is also very closely tied with that because it just blocks our energy when we feel demand avoidance. So one way that I work with that is to just be like, okay, I want to do this so that tomorrow I can feel like this. Okay, number 4 is we get easily overwhelmed, right? So especially when there's multiple steps. So like if you just look at the dishes, okay, usually there's not multiple steps. But if we add, let's say, oh, this thing needs to be dried and this thing needs to be put somewhere else. The biggest thing for me is taxes, because I know that there are so many steps that I need to get through to finish my taxes. And like, as an ADHDer, we just want to be done. Like, we don't want to have to keep going back to the thing or having to do all the steps. We just want to like do the thing and get it over with. I don't know about you, but like, I never wanted to like write another draft. I'd be like, here's my first draft. That's good enough. I am not touching this thing ever again. Like I hated corrections. I hated edits. I still don't like it. That was actually what kept me from wanting to do YouTube for a while, because I'm like, oh God, it's going to take so many steps. I'm going to have to edit. But now I kind of know. And even with my taxes, even though I procrastinate the crap out of them and always get the extension now, I know what I need to do. So I know that there's going to be multiple steps. I tell myself there's going to be multiple steps, and that's okay. And I write down all the steps. So when you are overwhelmed with something, write down all the steps that are involved and just start the first step, right? Just ease into it. So maybe like open your computer, go to the sink, turn the water on, fold clothes for 5 minutes, right? The other day, oh my God, I literally did not fold clothes the whole entire summer. I have this chair. It was a big mistake getting a chair in my room. But I have this chair. I just throw all the clothes on there. And like the whole entire summer, I literally was just, I told my son, just pick the clothes out from the chair, pick it out from the chair. And then it was the first day of school and I'm like, okay, again, I was like, okay, future self, like get the clothes done so that like, cause you're going to have to wake up at like 6 in the morning and your son is going to be like, where's my clothes and blah, and it's going to be super stressful. I was having so much demand avoidance to these clothes. And so like I would get in there and be like, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. But what I did was like, okay, I'm just going to like pick up a few clothes. I'm just going to set the timer for 5 minutes. And I did have to go back in there a few times and just do the steps, right? And just getting comfortable with like having to go back to things has really helped me. And even doing like a Pomodoro timer, like I couldn't actually have made it like 25 minutes, even listening to things. I think I made it like 10 minutes. So it's like, okay, I made it 10 minutes. I'm going to go take a break. And then I'm going to go back and do it when I feel a little better. So it wasn't like I started it, I whipped through it. I had to deal with my energy. I had to deal with my demand avoidance, and I had to deal with my overwhelm by just like taking breaks, putting it into like these baby steps. And that really actually helped. I did fold all of them and I actually put them away too. And then putting them away, that was like a separate time that I did later. So being okay with bite-sized steps without feeling like you need to get everything done right away is also really going to help you. And number 5, overthinking. So I could be like, okay, hey, I really want to make this video. But then I start overthinking and then I'm like, but wait. And then other things are going to come into this. So listen to this. What's this person going to think about this? Or, oh, I'm going to be criticized if I make the video, or people aren't going to like it if I say this. So then I start going into the RSD. I think overthinking and RSD also go hand in hand and they kill motivation. So like we'll have a spark, we'll have an inspirational spark. And I actually think like I would prefer to feel inspired than motivated. So get that. Like if we could think about like what we want to feel. I want to feel inspired to do things. I'm not always going to feel inspired to do the dishes, so I need to get some motivation to do the dishes, but I want to feel inspired to be creative. And we can get that spark of inspiration and then we start to think. And it's, for me, I don't know about you, let me know in the comments. Like it's mostly about what is this person going to think of me? Or how are they going to react? Or what's the algorithm? Like what, like will this video get any views or whatever, you know what I mean? Like it's like that overthinking ties so much into our RSD, rejection sensitive dysphoria, as well as our people pleasing, as well as our being empaths. And I feel like the RSD, the people pleasing, the empathness, they all go really, really hand in hand. And for me, there's not like a sciencey thing that you can really say like it's dopamine, okay? It's not just dopamine. Because how do I say it? Like we have like a certain energy about us. We have a certain archetype about us that we need to honor. And we also need to learn how to work with, right? So when we do go into that overthinking, okay, I'm overthinking this because I'm thinking about this person, that person, that person. Try to come back to that original inspiration. right? And maybe something is off about it. So then you tweak, like you kind of write it down. For me, I've just been writing things down. Like, okay, how does this really feel? Like if I do this, how does it feel to me? Is this going to be helpful to somebody? Like maybe somebody will criticize me or maybe somebody won't like it. That's okay. I don't really actually care that much if this person doesn't like it. Like sometimes I'll think about like, oh, if my parents ever see this, they're going to think it's like so stupid and flaky. And then that just goes back to our shame and our RSD and our blah. It's tiring, people. This is why it's hard beyond dopamine to find motivation when you have ADHD. So it's like the inspiration hits and then there's like the overthinking, the RSD, all of that. So that is also like when tapping can really come in handy. Like even though I'm just thinking about all these other people and what they want and what they expect from me and I've lost touch with myself, just speak it out loud, like those voices going on in your head. So that's what I got. I'm just going to see if there's anything else I wanted to say about RSD. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to say is confusion. Like when we get confused, oh my God, I feel like that's one of the most toxic feelings that we can feel as an ADHDer because it's like a red flag feeling. When you feel confused, that means that like the higher part of you, your higher self, is in some sort of discord with another part of you, another person, or just like things aren't lining up. So like whenever I get confused about people, for example, like what they say and what they do are not lining up. And that leads me to feel confusion when it's really like something is off here. So when we feel confused, like something's usually off. And so we need to start paying attention to that when we feel confused, because confusion is such a drain on our motivation, and we want to take our power back. We want to bring our power back to us. And overthinking and confusion is just like putting so much power and energy in the brain that it's not spread out throughout our bodies. And that's what we want. We want the energy to be flowing. We want the energy to be flowing freely. And that is when we have the motivation. When we're overthinking, when we're confused, motivation is zapped. So we need to find a way to have that clarity about who we really are and how we are going to express that into the world, no matter what anybody else thinks. I hope you liked that video. Let me know. I really am curious about what your thoughts are about these non-dopamine explanations for why it's hard to find motivation as an ADHDer and which one you struggle with the most. If you want to actually overcome these challenges, check out this video, which is all EFT, all the way, all tapping, to help you clear out those motivational blocks so that you can get the things done that you are meant to do in this world.